Welcome to episode 172 of New Meta Podcast. I'm your host Stan, aka The Magic T, joined as always by Marco and Adam. Welcome to the pod once again for the 172nd time with the same introduction. But how are you doing, Marco?
Fantastic.
Some things, if they're good, just keep them the same. Just welcome to Ep X. How are you doing, Marco? As always, don't need to change it.
If it's not broken, does Techie need deleting from the game?
Yeah. But Adam, likewise, welcome to the pod. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice.
I don't have any expansion on that.
That's all right.
I'm good.
It's all right. I'm always scrambling for expansion in the opening sort of minute of the pod, just so it's not like a direct script every time. But
Super Bowl Sunday coming up. Big
really
day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
US listeners are hyped.
Should be. It
Who's
goes
in
into
it?
a dark dead period of like no sports.
What, post
After-
Super Bowl?
Post Super Bowl. Yeah, you gotta wait a while for baseball. It's just NBA and like March Madness. So if you're not into basketball, you're kind of in a dead zone for some months.
Yeah. March
I
Madness
guess
is
hockey
actually
too,
hyped, though.
but yeah, March Madness is pretty hype. LA Rams and Cincinnati Bengals. So
Interesting.
should be pretty cool.
Nice, educating the EU listeners. Tell you what would be great: Super Bowl Sunday into these finals, into a patch. Now, we were talking before we started recording about these finals and DPC and what was going on a little bit, and the DPC finals haven't actually started yet. I thought that they had, so they start on the 15th and run till about the 20th, 22nd, I think the latest one finishes. So we're still like, next week's episode is going to be like a dead zone, countdown to the patch. And then after that, maybe in 2 weeks' time, we'll have patch review or something. Although, who knows, it is Valve, so...
Oh yeah, they told us when the patch is coming.
They didn't tell us the day, did they?
They said, I think, 22 or 23.
Oh, did they? I missed that. Oh, that's very cool. So then, yeah, it will be a patch, emergency pod patch on Wednesday. Maybe we'll see. Or 2 weeks on Wednesday. That could be fun. But yeah, so we thought what better to do with today's episode than to talk a bit about Pudge, the hero that everyone's playing because they're so bored with Dota that they just want to land some hooks and win some games. We'll also talk about our own games and maybe a word on
winning games with Pudge. I thought we just said how to play Pudge. We didn't say anything about winning games with Pudge.
Yeah, this is just like how to Pudge games on Pudge. You're not really trying
Pudge,
to win. You're just
how
like
to Pudge.
Yeah, how to just Pudge. Having said that, though, my Pudge win rate is actually spectacular. And I got a Pudge win in this week, I believe. So I feel like I'm an authority on the subject.
I mean, we already know, like, Pudge wins games when on the other team. That's,
Yeah, for definite. A word on DPC, maybe just quickly for all the hardcore fans. Any comments? Are you going to be tuning into these DPC finals that are all happening seemingly at the same time?
Oh, I've not watched Noob from UA for a while, but I will watch the EG highlights. It says it's 1 a.m. for the EG game, so I'm probably not seeing that live against TSM, whoever they are. Brian.
When's that? Today?
No, 19th.
Oh, the 19th, I see.
Right. I will consume some Noob from UA, I think, for this. Just, I'll be hiding behind something whilst watching the highlights and praying that EG don't get too owed by some tier 3 NA stack.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, Quincy Crew and, whatever the other ones are called, I can't even remember. Quincy Crew and Undying, do they become the tier 1 NA teams and EG become the, tier 2, tier 3 NA team? I don't know.
Potentially.
All be decided at these finals.
I mean, yeah, they've got Nightfall now, and I don't know how many pro games they've played. They've obviously scrimmed an awful lot in all of this time. I know we once had the episode about there's too much at DPC and just overwhelmed, and now it feels like it's been radio silent for weeks. I don't know. It feels like the flow is kind of weird. I guess it's because we were meant to have a major, probably right now or something, and it has been a bit of a weird start to the year.
Although tomorrow is when the EU West final starts, so
does it?
OG play Liquid tomorrow, and so do Gladiators, who used to be Tickles, play Tundra, and the final is on the 13th, so 3 days' time.
Oh, wow, much earlier then.
Yeah, so some fun new from UA, some stuff to watch. So,
I mean,
that'll be interesting to see.
This is territory of 1 p.m. Friday afternoon, work from home, Team Liquid from home. Get the jersey on.
Yeah, it might be definitely a distraction to contend with over the coming days.
Because Liquid have been amazing. It seems I've not watched them, but the Zai Matu just Scando stack seems to have too much synergy.
Yeah, definitely, and it's cool to see Team Tickles sort of flying in and coming second very unexpectedly in the EU West. So
didn't Team Tickles used to have Boom and Soleri? Were they what was that?
They were Viking.gg.
That was it. That was Viking.gg. So only 2 of the Viking.gg are in this Team Tickles.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I used to really hate on Viking.gg.
Yeah, you're a known Viking.gg hater.
So the fact that 2 of them have made it to this really good run is a bit dangerous. Credibility's at risk.
Ace, I'm also a known Ace hater. Because
he's just terrible.
No, well,
historically,
he's known as a Meepo player. And I feel like when I was coming of age in Dota, all I cared about was Meepo. I was like 90% of what I cared about. And he played it safe lane and didn't play it well, in my opinion. Or like in my 2K opinion, I was like, stop playing Meepo like Abed and these other mid players play it. I don't like it. Yeah. He'd insist on playing it safe lane, and I just didn't agree with that theory, the theory of Meepo that I was writing while I was in Legend, Archon Legend or whatever, grinding Meepo all day. So I feel like I was a known Ace hater as well.
His career, so just tangent on his Wikipedia. So he, to me, Danish Ace, has always been this tier 3/tier 2 player, veteran in the scene. But actually, he had this
it was on Secret,
10-month stint with Secret, and they got 5th to 6th with him on the team. And so he's actually got bonking decent career earnings, despite, to me, having known the name for literally 10 years. Has always just been a Danish carry that's never quite made it, but actually has fucking made hundreds of thousands. Just putting us down.
Yeah. How much has this podcast made again? Or what is this podcast like? Minus hundreds of dollars. It's like $12 a month or something. So I'm just hemorrhaging money while Ace is just playing Meepo to 700k or whatever. So yeah. Let's talk about some games then, and let's mix up a bit. Adam, what's been going down in your games this week? How's Dota been treating you?
I don't know. Let me take a look. I kind of tuned out when you talking about DPC.
Wake me up when it's relevant.
Haven't watched any of it. I got the Drow Arcana. That was pretty awesome. So I played a couple games of that. I mix and match the Arcana set with the Kitty Cat Drow set. So I'm pretty happy with my cosmetic choices. I guess the highlight of the week is that Naga game where you played Huskar.
That was a good game, yeah.
Where we had already had a Dazzle pick, and then you picked Huskar middle. So we already had the Huskar Dazzle cheese. And then I was like, What do we need from the safe lane? How about we just throw down a very unwholesome Naga on top of it? And you were trying to say things to me, and I just couldn't respond. My brain was too focused on microwave illusions to even respond to a word you were saying.
Yeah, you were the only thing you were saying was like not responding and just being like, "Oh, I'm just playing my own game, just playing, you know, PV, all these NPC creeps. I don't know what's going on. Just playing Naga."
Yeah, and then throne explodes and
yeah,
it's 900 plus GPM.
Cool.
It's 650 last hits in 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling having, and Marco can probably relate to this as well. It's such a nice feeling having someone in your party, particularly, especially if they're like good, playing like late game insurance hero. Like it's nice just me playing Huskar and just like doing dumb stuff and being like, let's just fly in on Huskar, and then no matter what happens, Adam's like mega farming on a Naga in the background. And I'm just like, this is in the bag. I can just like mess about.
As long as if you've had a decent game from the mid, you then have license to go full wacko. It fucking doesn't matter because the Naga's back. As long as you don't do complete bad, it's like you're in for a fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun hero. I got a 12-minute Manta and never looked back.
Yeah,
Manta, Scotty, Silver Edge, Butterfly, BKB. Some at point I had an Ags that I ate. Boots of Travel 2, Trickster Cloak. So you have double invis. Pretty funny to be taking the base, and the enemy, you guys were fighting, and then I'm sure like someone on the other team's like, oh, she's trying to take the base. The enemy Venge TP's in solo, just pop illusions. This is a 3 Venge, and just like 3 click it, and then it's like, okay, back to my base, back to hitting. And then they finally TP everyone else back in, and you're just, okay, I'm going to Trickster Cloak away, or I'm going to Silver Edge away. And you're max move speed with Boots 2 and Silver Edge.
That was a nice game. Just before we move on, we'll come back to, we'll mix and match each other's games, but just the game from my perspective. Huskar, man, I actually feel like this hero's good. The win rates are good across the board, according to Dota Plus. The hero feels just unbelievably strong at certain points, but then at other points, I was surprised how quickly I died. I mean, that sort of is Huskar for you, but this lane, like, oh my goodness, I'm against a Divine 1 puck, so you can safe to assume that they're consummate level to me, because I never play Huskar, so even if they never play puck, should be relatively even. I'm double this guy's net worth at 9 minutes. He's got 2.3 and I've got 4.6. Because Burning Spears is just like so insane because you don't even aggro creep, so you just completely own the lane. And then once you've got Armlet, if you're good, I'm not, so I just don't know how to use Armlet well and stay alive. But if you're good at that, you can push this hero so well. Obviously, when you've got Dazzle behind you, it's even more obnoxious. Oracle Huskar, Dazzle Huskar. These are very broken combos that we know about. You can get Roche ridiculously early. You can get it like 12 minutes in. All you need is an Armlet, and you can just toggle forever. The hero's nuts, and I've been watching a fair bit of Koikva's stream, or watching YouTube videos of highlights, and he plays Huskar quite a lot, and it's quite cookie cutter, like how to win the game. You crush the lane, you get you farm really, really fast because of your passive, you just have Armlet on when you hit creeps, and you just nuke them all down with Burning Spears. The hero farms really, really fast. I think that's underrated. You get an Aegis, and then you just push down a lane and win because you're too strong. And with the Ags, you don't even fall off anymore, because you can, like in this game, I went Blink Ags, and I can just blink, blink Life Break on the enemy Drow or the enemy Puck, and unless they've got a Lincolns, they're dying, because it's a however long the taunt is through BKB. It's a nutty Aghanim Scepter. I think it's core on the hero. Armlet, Halberd in most games, and then Ags. I actually rate the hero. I'm looking to play a bit more. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that game. I really like Huskar.
You probably would have had a little more fun if there wasn't an axe on the other team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's annoying.
because it kind of does defeat the fun of the combo, the Husker Dazzle.
Mm-hmm. There are heroes that absolutely wreck Husker. Necro, Viper. These heroes crush Husker. But if you can avoid them, I think the hero's really abusable. I could definitely see it as like, an MMR. If you get good at Huskar, you could
abuse a crusher for sure.
Yeah.
There was that game that I sent you guys the final items and it's like name that mid hero.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. No one got it. I random middle Jug and went Battle Fury Orchid. Treads, Deso, Blink Dagger, Heart. So it was an Ag Shard. It was a dumb build, but we had a Faceless Void. I wanted to have a little bit of farm, but not so much farm to take everything away. And we kind of just won some fights and snowballed. And you can kind of shove towers down with healing ward back up. And that's kind of why I went the Deso. Mm-hmm. Battle Fury is a nice farming and damage item, like you're still relevant with your Omni Slash. Orchid was for the AM who also had a middle invoker, so it was like relevant. Treads for attack speed, but then you have no movement speed, so after the Deso I got Blink, and so you can kind of position yourself in case of a chrono and blink on somebody. And then Heart was to live through double Cataclysm. They had Ravage into double Cataclysm, so it's like, well, just get a Heart and then Heart and drop a healing ward. It was like a 38-minute game, so it was kind of a stomp. And I went like Perseverance first. You get like middle against a Invoker, an Exhort Invoker, so you're like, it's going to be kind of a challenge to get last hits right. I won't ever have to worry about dying because I have spin, so like the cold snap's not a problem. You went double null, you're like, okay, we're gonna just like trade. I'll spin on the easy camp I stack, just trade farm. I have a Perseverance and he's got I think he had like double null Glove of Haste. I'm like, okay, we're gonna be on par. He's gonna get his Midas. I don't care. Like, I think we, can still come out ahead. I'll farm faster with the Battle Fury. And then the next time I look back, he had int treads. He went treads. No Midas. It's got to be like the worst Invoker build I've seen in a long time. This is Null Talisman, Tread, Wand at 19, nice. 26-minute Aghanim Scepter, 33-minute Refresher. That is the build. 19. That's the build. I mean, I guess he got the Ag Shard as well, but you basically no items into Ag's Refresher. Mm-hmm. You know what you could have had and had the Ag's Refresher at the same time? A Midas. And you would have more attack speed and more levels. And it was just like it goes from, okay, we're on level farming, but they're going to sustain a late game to, we just kind of win.
Mm-hmm. Invokers are so weird, man. They're so bizarre.
I've never seen that build up before. I've seen plenty of the double Cataclysm, plenty of Exhort Invokers, but it's like, this isn't what they do.
Yeah, they never get treads. I do find it weird how they go like Brown Boots, Spirit Vessel, and then like go back for Midas, and then go Ags or something.
But I just remember telling her, it's like, okay, he's got a Glove of Haste, and then we look back later, and it's like, where's the Midas? Where this is a int treads. I'm like, oh, okay. Ooh, the 10 int. You guys got some attack speed. Like, oh man.
Yeah, well, that's pretty weird. Marco, any games to report?
Well, one of them is a legendary Pudge game.
I was going to mention this game, but then I figured, well, it is the topic of the pod, and I was just a passenger for that game.
Yes, Adam with the solid 4-10 Ricky Pos 1 show him doing all those Ricky fans proud.
But we won.
0-8, yeah. But no, it was all part of the plan.
Yeah. All part of the plan for me to get the Battle Fury and transition into support Ricky.
Yeah. It's all about that first farming item that then accelerates the utility items that follow. But it was necessary because it was a classic. They've got a PA that's strong, that's 2-hitting everyone, but they've just got a PA that's strong, that's 2-hitting everyone. It's a matter of, will this PA die in our fountain or tier 4s? If yes, and if it happens 3 times, we will win. If no, we will lose. And there were literally 2 fountain deaths from PA, from hooks, hooking into the fountain, which is pretty remarkable. And then, obviously, just crazy dives. She had an Abba and a Weaver behind her. So a Weaver with an axe, and then an Abba. So this is serious steroid gaming. But
she's got to get way out of position for her to not just, like, be fine completely with 2 saves.
Yeah, and that's what happened, and it helps when hooks win games and displace someone into the fountain. So that was heroic. That kind of win is... That loss is so bad. To be winning that is so good.
That's got to be a crusher because they were so far ahead. Literally, I started out 0-8 as the carry. And our heroes aren't ones that have, like, a come from behind or, like, a recourse, except for Pudge.
The scale of Pudge too good.
It's like, it was just like, what's our offlaner? Underlord. Okay, he's not going to make moves. He's going to like D-push, but where's the sexy counterplay with that? And it's like, we have AA Blast and Hoodwink, but those are 2 squishies. And when the other team has PA, Middle Wind Ranger, and Axe, those heroes aren't going to stand up. And I remember I thought we had won because we took a fight. They dove, and that must have been the first fountain death. And then we pushed middle and like, let's get the base. And then Axe shows up with a refresher, which I haven't seen that one before. But he blink BKB call, refresher, call BKB again, and we like. Kind of stopped our push. It's like, oh man, I thought we won and now we lost. And then they dove the base again. It's like, oh, okay, no, we actually won.
It was
the secondary win.
Yeah, it's serious elastic events though.
Honestly, so like the Ricky, right, I have a Battle Fury Ags, and you farm pretty fast if you have that. Daedalus Scotty. So like the damage is there, but honestly, the most important things that was provided was the Sleeping Dart and the Cloud, which had the Cloud cooldown reduction. And I basically didn't have to be a hero other than that. And the Ags is like kind of cool because I can jump into Pudge.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about the silence on the ground with the Cloud. And then there was one point where Marco hooks the PA and you see the Abaddon like coming to our base to try and do the shield, and I'm just like, hey, here's a sleep dart. Like, here's a little dart, okay. And then you kill the carry, and it's it. It's over. Mm-hmm. So you just need to hold somebody in place. I'm not sure we even like did, Pudge stuff with it, where it's like, okay, here's a target for you to hook. It's more just
the fights are always too chaotic. Yeah, it was just disrupt as much as you can. Does anyone disrupt? I think it's some of the most fun skirmishing when the name of the game for us is, can we survive for a 10-second window where PA is unkillable, BKB, supports near her? Can we weather this impact? Because then once BKB goes down and once a Weaver or a Abaddon silenced, if you hit an Ice Blast and you've got Pudge with E-Blade Rotten, like Hoodwink with... The spells will kill PA, but it's simply a matter of surviving that onslaught. And, like Adam says, disrupting the backlines and just kind of chaos and Dismember going through BKB, massive help. I went E-Blade, which I'll touch on for item build Pudge. just bide a few seconds of surviving and then try and pull them in, and as the fight prolongs, they get deeper and deeper into your base, and it's like, it's so chaotically beautiful.
Looks like it's a 14,000 gold lead that we erased. Yeah, it's like in a 5v5, we're not better unless we can split it up and make chaos, and then like the cloud and the turning one person off for however long, if you just everyone else ignores them, it kind of makes you level on gold. And then, you're just like, for as unsexy as Underlord is, it's like the W plus rod kind of turns off another person.
Yeah.
So we kind of were able to split up the team, split up the fights, and it was really fun once we started to be able to do stuff like that. The first 30 minutes was pretty awful, but
it was pretty brutal.
But once it got into Clown Town, or like everybody, we gotta, this is the strat, we gotta do this to have a chance, then it got it got pretty fun.
Yeah, I think without two fountain hooks, it's a tough game, but it's all about making that happen. Mate, mid Pudge, optimized
mid Pudge against Wind Ranger, and if you look at Dota buff, Marco 1.
Well,
it says middle. It says middle 1.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll ignore the ranks. And
I know, but
it was 0-1.
That was pretty fun. I remember you saying that he was really sad or something. Were you denying all the creeps or something?
I
mean, that's a CS. Your CS damage versus Wind Ranger is so nice.
I mean, you win the middle by 1,700 gold, 5,400 to 3,700. So
yeah, I fed a death. It was so, honestly, it's very embarrassing stuff. I kind of just switched off because I was like getting so many DIs and last hits, but then I just die and just do some stupid aggression. What am I doing? Die to this clueless windrunner who then they don't question mark, they pause the game when I die. But nice. Yeah, at 10 minutes I'm still far ahead.
You had the last laugh.
Yeah.
I had a core Pudge win as well this week, so we've got plenty to talk about. Mine was a POS 3 Pudge, transitioned into a POS 4 Pudge throughout the game. But I actually laned with a friend of the pod, Dynamic Grimstroke. And Grimstroke Pudge, holy smokes, there's such a strong lane. We're just killing them, laning against TB Witch Doctor. And we were just killing them over and over and over again. Because like if TB goes for a creep, you just run at him with Inkswell and Stroke of Fate. If the Stroke of Fate slows the TB, it doesn't matter if you tank a coconut or two. You're still going to get to him, and then the huge nuke damage of the hook. And we got so many kills in this lane. And then it was me this time with the PA that was one-shotting everyone. So that's what got us to the victory in the end. On my games, briefly, I have actually played, I think, 5 games of ranked this week. So I've actually been flying in 1 and 4, so flying back to Ancient.
Flying out.
Flying back to Ancient, yeah. So we enjoyed like a legit pod, with me being divine, pod saved, legit talking points. But I'm afraid this time next week that's probably not going to be the case, because I don't know how many losses I need to get to Ancient, but I reckon I can do it in one more stint of ranked. It is so really sad because the first ranks that I played this week, I feel like set the tone a little bit, where I played AA for tokens, and I feel like I played pretty well, but it was so frustrating because we had a Pudge POS 3, so more Pudge action this week, who was DC'd from like pre-horn. In fact, he DC'd during picking stage, so he last picked his hero, and everyone was typing GG, like, oh, good luck next, because he's not going to come back in time to pick. Comes back at like with 1 or 2 ticks left, picks Pudge. Then the game starts, he walks out to lane, but then pre-horn DCs again, and we're like, oh, what is this? 5 minutes, he has 5 minutes to reconnect, 4 minutes to reconnect, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. So we've stopped playing. Like the Mirana in his lane is like in Fountain, thinking that the game's about to end, and we can all just leave safely because there hasn't been any kills or anything. My TA is laning mid, and I'm bot with my Weaver or whatever. Pudge comes back with like 10 seconds or less to go, and it's like, oh my god, now we actually have to play this game. And I'd gone for a bit of sneaky play. I was like typing to team in Allied chat, like, if Pudge comes back, tell him he got an abandon, so that he leaves, so that we don't have to play this game. But then my team weren't on the wavelength, so like he comes back and everyone's typing, like, oh my god, like I can't believe we've got to play this game now. And I was like, I thought we talked about this. Come on, like communications, let's go. Tell him he got an abandon. Anyway, so then we've got to play out this game, and it turns into a 52-minute slugfest where we could have easily won, even with this insane detriment. The detriment is so insane that a Pudge and a Mirana turn up to lane level 1 versus like whatever their carry is, Ricky, who's already level 3, and their support that's already like level 2. So it's unplayable basically, this game. And we still, basically on the back of a mid TA that does very well, we come back into this game. And it was a heartbreaker. 53 minutes, and it's one of those classic games where you're behind all game, like hanging on. You win a big team fight, maybe 40 minutes in, around the Roche pit, get a Roche, and it's what we've talked about so many times on the pod, where your mindset, because you've won one fight, is suddenly like, oh, we can just be out on the map, like pushing lanes, and like we're suddenly winning the game. And then we just get wiped, like through Aegis, because they just take a fight, because we're suddenly like out on the map, suddenly like pushing lanes by ourselves, showing on the map by ourselves, like not as 5 and all this. And then we lose momentum because of that, and we throw away our chance to win. And it's so sad, because if with the Roche play and stuff, if we played with the same like diligence and the same careful attitude of playing around vision, going for quick snipe kills, like when you're on the back foot, you've got to play so clinically. If we'd kept doing that, we would have won for sure, because they were so sloppy and careless. That's what let us get back into the game, even though they had this insane start. So that was really sad. Then I won a game on Viper. What's new? I should just play Viper every game, because Viper's free win, but then lost a few others. I don't have a lot to say. I did win a PL last night, and I won a Pango today. So the hero pool, the diversity's through the roof. My current diversity rating's 9.25. So that's when you know, the higher my versatility, the lower my MMR. I feel like they're directly correlated.
Yeah, you need more green heroes.
Yeah, man. So
suck it up
why,
and play green, man.
Yeah, I know. I tried to play. I was getting the Quap out and the Puck out in the ranks. It's just no.
Get
Viper out. Yeah. I also picked Storm in ranked, but then the game didn't count because someone DC'd, so that's probably a minus 30 dodge to there as well.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's why I have to report. I've actually played a lot of games recently, to be fair, this last week. Topic today then, Pudge. We just talked about it, the Pudge hero a little bit, but let's talk about it a little bit more, because this is the most picked hero in Dota 2. Adam, I feel like, first of all, is Pudge good, and where is it best? Like, if you have to fit a Pudge into your team, like, what position do you think it's best? Is it the famous possible?
Good is a loaded word.
Least bad?
I don't think it's bad, but it's... Well, it's here. Okay, so here's the thing. It's the most played hero.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to experience a wide range of Pudge skill levels and play styles. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a wide variance with someone that loads into the game with that hero. They could be really good, or they can be really, really bad, almost game-destroyingly bad, and have no impact. So I think in a vacuum, I don't think the hero is in an amazing spot. I think it's okay as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Ag Shard made the hero better and actually has utility as a 4. I think it was kind of a grief before the advent of that, but now that you got this like save potential, it does have pseudo support type of utility. All that being said, I think 3 is the best spot for the hero.
3.
Yeah, I think 3 is the best spot for him. But there's also very many ways of building the hero. So I guess it just comes down to, what do you think? This is one of those heroes that goes many items, and I really like the Ags build. And I can tell you what's really bad is the Ags build on a hero that doesn't get any last hits or farm. So that's a 4 or 5 Ags build. Pudge is really bad. And I gets into how you skill the hero too. Like 4 and 5 Pudge should probably not be getting a ton of points into rot early because you just die. You just end up killing yourself.
What's your thoughts on the position of a Pudge, Marco? You're gonna vouch for a position other than 3?
Well, Marco just won a game with mid Pudge, and I think mid Pudge, that's like a madman thing. That's if like you're against a Crusader Wind Ranger mid.
Wow, throwing shade. It doesn't back my mid Pudge in ranked Immortal games, because I sure don't. I mean, I think the point you make about the variance is definitely true. I think if you strip away all the players who are playing Pudge because it's just fun and not kind of serious, I do think its win rate would be fairly bit higher. I think you're right with that. Shard makes support Pudge viable. To me, the biggest issue I find is when you, as a core Pudge, is you get shafted by heroes. I think if I'm playing against an Immortal, there are certain heroes, even if they're immortal, but they're not kind of a dumpster hero. And if you can farm on Pudge, I think you can do high work. I think the issue, or at least my experience is, and again, say I'm against a legend, but the Viper, and I'm mid Pudge, it's GG. Like, my hero is really shit. It's really hard.
Even in the side lane, like if you're trying to play
so aggressive.
3, yeah, if you're trying to play a POS 3 Pudge, you get ruffled by so many lanes.
Yeah.
Like Ursa, Raider, Monkey King, Slark. Like, you're going to get wrecked.
Yeah. So to me, that's the biggest issue, really, the picks. But if you don't get Shrek'd and you can farm your first 10, 12 minutes fairly freely, I think you're then set for a good game. Because once you get a hood, bottle, you can clear camps very easily. You can kill the mid wave easily, and to me it's all just about getting online with a blink and then going towards the Ags, and you become a monster. Your damage output becomes beastly, your initiation becomes beastly. I do think the hero becomes very strong, but yeah, it's just if I get Shrek'd in the early game, that's where the biggest issue comes in. I can tell but yeah, to the question of where is Pudge best, if the game works, I mean, to be honest, it could be 1 or 2, and I mean, Arme played it 1, so maybe that tells you that 1 is the best it can be. Probably a 1, really, like a 1.5 in the safe lane, where you've got the safety of a safe lane, and therefore can farm freely. You don't really need the levels if you just farm.
I think he's definitely 15, a side 20. Laner.
Yeah, it's just
over mid. It doesn't matter which side lane, because you want to take advantage. It's like when I learned playing Jakiro mid, it just sucked. Because they just walk away. It's much better to have this long lane to try and take advantage of what you're doing. You just couldn't get enough dot to happen in the mid lane without someone walking away. And especially with Pudge in the side lane, you got 2 different things to hook. And if hopefully you can combo with a hero that you're laning with, that you're not all just on you doing the thing.
I like side lane Pudge. I think it's good as a 3, although you need a strong laner, I think, if you're playing Pudge. Or I would want a strong laner so that you don't run into some of the issues that Marco was just talking about, getting wrecked.
I think
maybe the other hero can deal with the strong laner on the other side.
I mean, I played with like I said, I played with Grimstroke in lane, and we absolutely destroyed our lane. So Pudge can be good if you're in he's a good killer, but he's also very vulnerable. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of hit and miss. You're not someone that is going to stand up well to kill lanes himself. But if you're against like a reasonably static lane that doesn't threaten you, I feel like you can win the lane because your right click's so strong and you always have kill potential with hook. So
yeah, I think he is hit and miss. I would rather err on the side of let's just farm. I do think that if you can put your head down as a Pudge, get a Hood, Phase, Blink by, I don't know, 13 minutes.
Woo! That's
15 minutes. How much is... Because how much is Hood? Hood's fairly... 1.5, Phase 1.5, and then Blink. That's 5.1k net worth. You can get... I mean, some cores get a Power Treads Battle Fury at 12, 13. So if you can get that 14 minutes, say, that time in
stacks.
Well, you don't. This is my point. You don't need to get kills before those items come online. And once those items are online, at 15 minutes in the game, not many heroes are going to be able to deal with a Blink Pudge who blinks and ults someone.
You're just destroying supports.
Yeah, the supports are completely screwed, and then you can farm those stacks. Then you've got presence on the map. You're strong enough at that point to be shoving waves, to be doing neutral camps, and you're now just this core that's got kill threat every 30 seconds, and you can snowball the farm and head towards that Aghanims. And I think the issue, and I think it's the issue with a lot of core players, generally now speaking about cores, is that they try and do too much too early, too soon. And like we've said, or at least I've definitely said, rotating too early, being aggressive too early, not focusing on the simple mechanics of getting gold for the first 15 minutes, you then just hemorrhage your game. If I think about, I always think about these GPK YouTube videos I watch, where he's playing Quops, and there was a period when I watched a lot of Quop GPK. Literally every game is like 15, 16 minutes, and his CS is like 100. And I just think, wow, crazy, how's that possible? But then I'd also go, well, why am I not going for pure CS when I'm playing mid Quop or mid Pudge? Like, GPK is ruffle stomping these games, probably helps that he's got 100 CS at 15 minutes, rather than you do your own pub, guarantee 15 minutes you've got like 30 CS because you're like running around the map like a lunatic.
Yeah, but you might be 2 and 1. You might have 2 kills.
That's probably not worth.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's way not worth.
So just get that key item, just farm, greed farm until that first 15-minute power spike happens, and then you can make a kill happen, and then you could be more aggressive on the map, and you snowball.
Yeah, but then you've got to play low prio.
Fucking worth it.
You're winning games, so actually you're farming commands, so it's
yeah.
Fine. Item build then, are you dead set on this? You're going Hood Blink then, are you?
So
Phase Hood Blink?
No. Not Phase. Phase comes after Hood for certain, because you need the Hood for sustain. Then the Phase, because that gives you some kill potential, gives you escape, mobility, and just camp to camp movement pro. Then after that Blink, I used to be thinking, should I go Ags Blink or Blink Ags? I think what I've settled on is that the impact you can get from Blink is so good. It's better than like a Staff of Wizardry and Ogre Axe. And then also, you don't need to get Ags and go. You can get Blink and partially go, but keep farming, and then you get Ags, and once you get Blink and the Ags comes online, holy moly, you are strong. The Ags DPS, I don't have the exact number right now, but it is bonkers DPS. If you can hit an Ags at early 20, insane amount of damage.
Bonkers AoE too.
Yeah, the AoE as well. So you're blinking into a fight running round, and if you hit a good timing, you are so strong.
So here's an item that I think you should consider on Pudge, and I think you're going to disagree because you're all about these timings. And is there any love for an Urn of Shadows?
I'm not bothered about that. I feel like maybe it's a 3, there's merit. If I'm thinking 1 or 2, I don't think so at all. Because you get value from earned charges, which implies kills and heroes. As a 1 or a 2, I do think it's wasteful, and you just get the timing.
Yeah. I mean, 840, you're getting mana regen, 2 armor, 2 stats, and a lot of damage.
Armor, you do need armor.
Don't need it. Not when you're farming.
If you're in your lane, this is a laning item.
Can you not just get a hood and just chill with a hood instead?
Well, that doesn't help you
if you're playing
right clicks from a ranged hero.
I think the lower or the higher your position, as in, if you're playing 3, 4, 5, then I would definitely say Urn's really good. I think Urn's underrated.
Yeah.
But maybe if you're playing 1, then you're not going to bother with an Urn.
I mean, there's going to be games where someone on the team needs a Spirit Vessel, and it follows the Pudge. And I don't think that is a 1 or 2 Pudge, but it's a very support Pudge item.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And if you're then going to... You might say, in the lane as a Pos 1 Pudge, I need some armor. I'm happy for you to get Ring of Protection. Or Ring of Protection gives you the Urn armor. And then eventually Phase Boots, more armor. So you do cover yourself a little bit there.
Yeah.
On the 4 Pudge, then, I'm a believer in the Tranks, Urn, and Blink.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really good on support Pudge. I don't have a lot more to say. I mean, Tranks has been a Pudge item for a long time. But that's the most value I think you're going to get out of 1,200 gold is turning your boots into a Tranks and turning and buying an Urn. And then I still think Blink is what you want to look towards even when you're playing 4 Pudge.
Blink,
because then you can do Blink Ag Shard stuff.
Yes, eventually.
And then, I think it's funny because on paper, the Pos 4 build-up of a Pudge, Tranks, Blink into Shard, so you can Blink Initiate or you can Blink Save. On paper, sounds decent, but then you do have to come back to reality and go, all right, for the 25 minutes when the Pudge doesn't have a Blink and they're trying to do useful stuff, they'll probably be failing to do useful stuff.
It's so situational, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. But then you have some games where the possible Pudge annihilates 2 lanes. And you're like, wait a sec, what's going on?
I think one thing you can rely on for Pudge 4 having value is if Hook can be a save. Like if you're playing against Chrono or like Legion Commander or something like that, where you can hook out of long lockdowns, then it's really good. Or not really good, but it's guaranteed to be good, like to have some value. But when that's not the case, it is very hit and miss. And like you say, if the Pudge's on the other team, then he's winning 2 lanes, and if he's on your team, he's just feeding deaths.
I think I really don't play much Pos 4 Pudge, but a tip that I would share is I feel like a lot of Pos 4 Pudges play it with such a hook mindset. They're all about trees hook, when actually, if I think about getting Shrek'd by Pos 4 Pudge, the way they Shrek, they'll wrap around and all of a sudden there's a Pudge with rot on your face. And it's...
Yeah, and then you can follow up with the hook.
Follow up
on
with
a slow target, which is so much easier to hit.
Yeah, so you'll follow up with a hook, but then you'll kill an enemy hero because what are they going to do? Well, they can try and run away, it's hard. I mean... You could try and trade a kill with the 900 HP Pudge. But now the Pudge will have backup. The Pos 4 will have an ally to connect, so that's dangerous. It's almost so basic that no one thinks of doing it. Like, just walk up to someone, but out of the trees, so it is a surprise, and just rot, and follow, and hook. And you'll secure kills because the enemy will be out of position. They'll be too far down the lane. They won't be thinking, is the Pudge going to wrap around and kill me with Rotten Walk? Honestly, I've died so many times to that simple play from when it's a really good Immortal Pudge kind of player, as opposed to the classic, I'll sit in a tree and try and hook, fail every time and add no value.
Yeah, but who's picking Pudge to press W? Come on. We're picking Pudge to press Q.
You'll win more by not skilling Q as opposed to Pudge until like 20 minutes.
Yeah, perhaps. Is there any fans of a more utility Pudge? Any Blink BKB fans? Because I feel BKB Dismember, phenomenal. When you think about it, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like an uninterruptible, in most games it's going to be uninterruptible, however long Dismember stun is, stupidly long. That's kind of nutty.
Yeah. So for the POS 1, POS 2 Pudge, I've optimized the build. I've played these items a lot of times. So core timings, at least to me, Hood, Phase, Blink, Ags. What next? If there's spells you need to get rid of, BKB, or if it's like a game me and Adam had recently where it's all about the physical, it's all about the PA, minus armor, not really many spells, E-Blade. Has to be one of those two in my eyes. It has to be this defensive item which enables you to blink in and go Rambo. Granted, probably 8 times out of 10 the BKB will be better choice, but I do think there are some games, like this PA one, you finish the Ags, you've got a blink, you need defensive, E-Blade for the physical. It allows you to blink in, cause mayhem, you use BKB, there's no one that can kill you, or if they've got a physical lineup, you've got E-Blade to save yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And some games you'll get both, but I highly recommend that next item is BKB or E-Blade. And that's
E-Blade to save yourself. E-Blade's to throw on the enemy for the big strength damage and slow and magic scepter. Amp.
Yeah, maybe, but first it's Ghost Scepter, and then it's E-Blade. So my point being, you need a defensive.
I'm just joshing.
It's so expensive to turn it into an E-Blade, though. Can you not just get Ghost Scepter?
I guess you could leave it, but like Adam makes a legit point. The E-Blade damage, if you are using it offensively, which you will do at some point, it's 20-second cooldown, plus your Rot, because remember, Rot is getting bonus from the E-Blade active. It is sizable DPS that you're gaining, and you get armor, you get a bit of strength, you can save allies, etc. E-Blade, the utility the Pudge is getting is really strong.
So what do you think about other options? I mean, you're against them, I already know, but what about people that say, I want to build a Lotus Orb, or I want to turn my Hood into a Shroud?
What? Why not BKB?
What instead of Lotus?
Those are 2 expensive items. You could get a BKB instead.
I don't like the Shroud.
Yeah.
The Shroud. The Shroud's a weird one, but people do buy it. People do get Shroud on like POS 3, on like a POS 3 Pudge. You do see it.
3.3k.
It's like so much more expensive than a Hood, and I don't feel like it pays for itself. Yeah, 1,800 more, and then you get obviously the spell lifesteal, and what else do you even get? Shroud's such a weird item. I don't even know what you get. You get the Hood active that then replenishes mana when you take damage, and it's like,
yeah.
Why?
You get the 20% spell lifesteal, don't you? That's like the 2 things you get.
Spell lifesteal. I guess if there's a game where the BKB value is not, is it ever going to be better?
No. 20% magic resistance and a 400 magic shield, or just full magic immunity?
Yeah.
What about a Lotus Orb? Lotus yourself, fly in, and then just...
Lotus is trash on a POS 2 Pudge that's flying in, I think. You need to keep... It's things like slows.
Depends on where this Pudge, the item's coming from. If it's going from a 4 and put on a carry, sure.
Yeah. The
Game
4
dependent.
Yeah. For POS 2, though, I am dying on the ditch of it has to be BKB or Ghost Scepter to give you that.
Agreed.
You need to enable the Pudge, and those 2 items are what will enable you to go Rambo, because you need to go Rambo as a core Pudge. You cannot be backlines. You've got to be. It's all about the Rot. It's not about the hook. It's about the Rot.
I've got some. I'm looking at 4 mid lane guides here on Dota Buff opinions. These could be like outlying games, but so just to start off, we have the first one, Phase, Hood, Blink. So far, so good. This is 14 minutes, by the way. Phase, Hood, Blink, 14 minutes, and then Shivers, and then Ags. Interesting. Then we've got another one, Hood, Phase, Ags, Blink. So the old Taco build before the Blink came first, but then Heart, and then Ghost Scepter. So Heart, maybe there is some value to the Heart.
Yeah, maybe you feel like you don't need that as defensive the item of Scepter BKB. I would say most of the time you do. What I then would say follow it up with is Heart or Overwhelming Blink.
Yeah, Overwhelming
or eventually
Blink's
both.
nice.
But I agree that Heart is tasty for that sustain, and health. Overwhelming Blink, also tasty for the strength and damage.
And then we've got one here, which is Blink E-Blade. So this is Brown Boot. So Brown Boot, Blink E-Blade. So who needs phase and who needs a hood? Just fly in. And then BKB.
That's funny.
It's quite funny, yeah. And then we've got one hipster going, Ags S and Y, Shivas, no Blink. So don't know what was going on there. But anyway, Pudge. This is the hero. I mean, 52% win rate, apparently, overall. In Immortal, though, it's in Divine Plus, it's 47.6. So is this a Smurfers?
What about Atos? Big fans of the Atos?
Never miss a hook again.
Yeah.
Just get wrecked by 4-staff, don't you? And then you're sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a gimmick. I've always sort of hated the Atos. Like, in some games you get away with it because the enemies just don't build a 4-staff, but then as soon as they do, it's like, congrats, you just played yourself. You've, like, baited the enemies. You've baited the, like, 2k enemies into buying the item.
The good item.
Yeah, into buying the item that they should always buy, but don't. Yeah. Just a fun fact for you guys. This is absolutely completely unrelated to Pudge and everything else, but there is more MMR difference within Immortal than there is from the start of Immortal to 0 MMR to Herald 1.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts, isn't it? I feel like that's because people are like 11k now, aren't they? Or are they 12k or something?
I think there are some 12s
in the world.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it got reset or what.
I don't think it's been reset.
I think there's been a 12. I think there has been one 12 maybe. There's definitely 10s and 11s.
Yeah, all it would need was an 11, which there definitely is, for that to be the case, if we say that 5.5 is the start of Immortal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, that is pretty nuts. That's what pros always say when they complain about getting, like ranked 2000 players. They're like, oh, this is like if a Divine player had to play with like, a Guardian in their rank, they'd be upset. And now I've got to play with like a ranked 2k player when I'm ranked 10 or something. But anyway,
I have a point back to the Pudge.
Yeah, go on.
And it's something I discovered mid-game almost. And this is because, like I said, it's all about the rock gameplay, not really thought about optimizing hooks. But a nice synergy actually is when you E-blade somebody and they're slowed 80%, it is then a kind of free hook. Because the movement speed is just so slow that they can't dodge it without an item or spell. Mm-hmm. So that is worth bearing in mind. And it's something that I had to think about, like, if I couldn't blink on said target, you can still blink close enough to E-blade and then land a hook. That is quite nice.
I'll say in my game that I went phase, hood, blink, Lotus, BKB, so I was almost Marco almost approved, but I just got the Lotus instead of the BKB. I was 3, yeah. So maybe a bit more acceptable, but I didn't even build my urn, so I didn't even follow through with my shout. So disgraced on the pod once again.
I do, yeah. The Ags, 120 DPS to 220 DPS, 100 plus DPS on Rot with bigger AoE, and you've probably got the Rot slow talent, maybe.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
In this game, I just wanted to like dismember people, so the dismember value was so strong because we had a dynamic Grimstroke with Ags making Terrorblade, Metamorphosis, Illusion, and getting like triple kills in fights, and obviously a PA, so don't need any damage when you've got PA. Just fly in with Dismember and stuff. That was good fun. Yeah. Well, I feel like any other news, any other business, or are you ready to fly into a Pudge game, Marco?
Yeah. So I went for an unranked solo recently with Pudge burning in my mind of I'm ready for mid Pudge. Get the mid. Happens every time Pudge is banned. And the hero I want to play is banned, so grim. And then I pick up Zeus because I'm like, who could be kind of a interesting hero? Zeus. And then it was the most classic unranked. Omega stomped our team. Omega stomped horrendous game. I was whining to Adam. Adam heard some of my tears. So anyway, that was the last game I played. Really wanted to play Pudge. It's time to go again.
Nice. Time for redemption. Adam, what do you reckon? First of all, are we going to win this game? And second of all, is Marco going to die first mid? Or is he going to kill first mid?
I think we're going to win. I think Pudge will be banned.
So dark.
Not
That's
that I will not have banned it. I'm just saying.
Oh my god, Adam's going to snake.
It does get banned quite a bit. Yeah,
it does get banned.
It'll be that random. It'll randomly get banned and be like, oof.
Yeah, because they do it off pick rates, don't they? Like if you don't nominate enough heroes for ban, the ones that they fill in are the most picked, I think, or like there's some weird system where the more picked a hero is, it's got a 50% chance to be banned, and if it isn't, it goes to the next one, and that's got a 50%. Something weird system like that. But yeah, Pudge is banned an awful lot. Yeah, well, there you go. Let's fly into a game and see what happens, and we'll report next week. And we'll be back next week as well with the pods, the last pod before the patch. Have a final whistle.